Hi, today we're at Rainbow Weavers in the Broadway building in Fairfield, and we are going to be talking to Marie-Helene and her mother Marguerite below, who are the Rainbow Weavers, and find out about this old process of weaving that probably many of you have never seen before. Where they're located in the Broadway building is in the farthest northwest corner of the first floor. And if you're trying to find them and you get lost, there's a map at the south entrance that you can look at, and you can locate yourself. They're open every Wednesday all day, and if you'd like to come another time, you could always call them. Their phone number is 472-9465, and they would be happy to have you come if they are here. So the first thing I think we want to ask you is a little bit about the history of this. How did your family begin weaving to start with?
Well, when you say our family, it brings us back in time.
Mm-hmm.
We found out not too long ago that my mother had a great uncle who used to be a weaver. But we didn't know that when she picked up an interest for weaving. She was introduced to weaving when she was about 22. She met a lady who had tabletop looms, fairly small and very basic, but she really got interested in that, and she used those tabletop looms until the 60s. I have seen her weave all my childhood, and she did a lot of things on those. Then in the 60s we were lucky enough to meet a lady who turned out to become our teacher. Her name is Danielle Pipot. She was a French weaver, and she was part of a very famous team. They did all kinds of things, and they had put together a unique way of doing tapestry.
Oh.
And they did tapestry for places like the Vatican, embassies. There's one place in Ottawa also, I mean, big places.
So these are very famous weavers that you learned
Very famous. And the weaving technique that they developed for these tapestries is unique. Only the 5 people of that team in the whole world can do that. Now, they didn't train us in that. They trained us in everything else that they knew, almost. And so we were very lucky to be accepted as students by this team of people. We felt very grateful. And Danielle so she became our teacher. The name of the group that she was in was Les Ateliers Place Lequesne. And so she became our teacher and trained us. At that time I was about 14, and I started learning along with Mom.
So you've been weaving since you were 14?
Yes. Yeah, with big breaks. So we started learning on bigger ones and started a business. I was a high school student, but I worked with Mom in part-time. After I graduated, we started a business full-time. And I stopped personally when I was about 22.
So you began weaving in France?
Yes. Yes, this was all back in France, in the southwest of France, near Bordeaux. And so I stopped from when I was about 22 for, 20 years. 20 years. And 2 years ago, Mom came here to live here. And she moved everything with her. So that's how we ended up with first a huge pile of sticks.
So you moved all these looms, these old looms over here?
Yes, we pulled everything apart, put it in big containers on a ship and across the ocean.
So then how in the world did you reassemble them when you got them here?
Well, you know, like we say, when it's well done in the beginning, when it's well prepared, you're almost all set. So that's what was done. Every single piece that was to be reassembled with another piece was marked with either a letter or a number. So we had stickers on everything, and but it took a lot of time. We started reassembling in December, and it took us till June to have all 3 looms and all the equipment, everything in place. Yes, it was a long time.
That was a very long time.
Yes, well, I mean, we didn't work full-time, but it took time. It looked like a gigantic headache in the beginning.
I'll bet it did.
Yes.
Now I noticed that this loom has a date on it. It's very old. Why don't you tell them a little bit about The date on that is 1832, is that right?
That's right. Yeah, this loom is the second one we had. It has quite a history. A friend had come to visit and noticed our first loom, and he realized that he had seen something that looked like that in the French Pyrenees, in the mountains, in an old shepherd's house.
Huh.
And the roof was caving in, and inside he had noticed a funny contraption that he had identified to be a loom later on. So my parents went to get it. And the
So
house,
this is that very loom
this is that very
from
loom.
the Pyrenees?
Yeah, yeah. The house was abandoned, and so they were able to get it. It was on the slope of a mountain. They had to use oxen.
To bring it down?
Yeah.
Was it in good shape, or did they have to reconstruct it?
No, it was in good shape. We did change pieces, like the harnesses are modern ones. The old harness, maybe we can have a look at it later on, or is over there on that wall. It, as you will see, it is made of, I mean, the heddles here, which are metal in this one.
So those are the modern harnesses?
Those
there
are the
that
modern harnesses, and those are actually industrial ones. We got those from mills that were closing down.
But the loom itself is that old loom that you
Yes,
brought down
it is
on the
the old
oxen?
loom. Yes, it is the old loom. It was made by a man by the name of Colaparos, as you can see it up there.
Why don't you show them? It's a little faint, and
Yes, Colaparos is the name of the man, and that's the date he built it in.
1832.
1832, that's right. And this was the original shuttle that he
Now the
wove
shuttle
with.
throws the thread, doesn't
That's
it?
right. The shuttle throws the thread across. And that's the shuttle that this man made his sheets with.
So
We don't use that anymore.
this loom was handmade?
Oh, yes. Yes. So we have changed the beater on this one also. But all the original frame is right there.
Well, I was thinking perhaps people would enjoy seeing something of the weaving process from sort of beginning to end in short. Do you think we could do that?
Oh, yes.
Good. All right.
Now, we will be showing you weaving, then I would like to show you weaving on the other loom that will be
All
over
right.
there. That other loom was built by my father.
Oh, your father built it by hand?
By hand. It was given, the blueprints was given to him by our teacher's master. And it is made of a very heavy, dense African hardwood. It weaves beautifully, it weaves very fine things. And then my mother will be weaving on this one. This loom was in a French weaving school. It was built in the 50s. This one is more modern.
So you have three completely different looms here.
Well, they all operate
Similarly.
similarly, yes.
But from different periods and different...
Right.
Yes.
Yes, but it's all the
Different
same
woods.
principle. Yes, different woods, yes. This is the lighter one, I believe.
Yes, it
And
looks
so we
to me.
use them for different purposes. We use
So
them.
you weave different things on each of these
Yeah,
looms.
the heavier looms do the best job on fine fabric. If you really want something very tight,
Right, then you use that
You
hardwood your father made.
you're right. Because the weight of the loom will do your work. Otherwise, you have to do it.
I see, okay. So now we should probably go over and look at the beginning of putting the threads, how it would look to put the threads together on.
Okay.
All right. I want to introduce to you the second of the Rainbow Weavers, Marguerite Belot, and she is going to show us something very fascinating here. I'm going to move off camera so that we can actually begin to see some of the weaving process. Why don't you go ahead and explain what we're looking at here and show us what you're doing.
Well, this is a warping reel, and this is what we use to prepare the thread.
To go on the loom?
To go on the loom, that's correct. So there's a whole process, and we have done part of it, and Mom is going to show you the last part of it.
This is fascinating.
So, tu peux montrer maintenant comment ça marche?
Je montre tout de suite.
So why don't you explain to us what she's doing here?
Well, here there is the bobbins of threads on this side, and they're going through other bobbins here to slow down the process so they don't unwind too fast. Then they are going through a place here where they can cross.
Yes.
And here they will go down and form a long ponytail type of thing. The longer the spiral the longer the warp.
So how long is this?
This one is not very long. This one is going to be about, I think we've put, let me check with Mom. Maman, on a mis 20 mètres ou 22 mètres? 22 meters. That's about probably 23 yards or something like
so
that.
what is this going to be that you're making here?
This is going to turn into beach towels.
Beach towels?
Yes, it's a cotton warp, and we're going to make beach towels with it. The maximum this reel can hold is 40 meters.
So that's quite long.
Yes, but since the preparation time is the same, not the same, but I'll show you. There's one part of the preparation time that remains the same. Whatever you do, it's better to put as much as you can.
How long does it take her to put this thread on here?
Well, she worked one full afternoon on it.
So to prepare the warp for a loom takes probably a whole afternoon.
Well, it depends on which loom. This one is not extremely wide, and it is thicker thread than at some other times. So the thicker
which
the
loom
thread,
will this go on?
This one will go on the loom that was the lighter one that was in the
50s.
Built in the 50s.
So I noticed she snipped the thread here. This must mean she's finished.
She's finished. Now she's going to tie up everything. So the amount of times that you go up and down, and yet your thread adds up, determines the width of the warp you're making. So that's why we can't say really how much time for this. If the thread is thick and you're doing a narrow width, it will go very quickly.
Yes.
But if you're doing a very thin thread and you're doing 5 feet on this one, it takes at least a day.
So I notice you use mostly fine thread, so
Yes,
most
we
of
do.
your pieces must have taken quite some time.
A long time.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, this is good. So
now
your mom
she's
will be
tying
spending some
everything.
time
Yes.
tying these.
Yes.
Maybe we could have you move to the loom and go ahead and show us. I understand that you always weave with your shoes off, so
Yes.
because part of the weaving process means you use your feet moving different pedals. Isn't
That's
that
right.
correct?
That's
All
right. Treadles, we call them.
Treadles, we call them.
Yes.
All right. I'm used to organs, and that's a little what it looks like.
Well, it is, and it is kind of the same principle. I don't have buttons to press, though. I'll take my shoes off and get in there.
So now you're
So,
seated at this
a
loom. Now
loom-
this is the older loom your father made with the hard
Yes.
wood?
Yes. So in the loom you have two different directions. The thread that comes on the warping beam over there comes this way,
And
then you
that's
have
the warp that your mother is doing now.
Right. Once this has been taken down, as we will see it, she will do that. She will take it down. Then we put it all around on the beam, and then either we re-knot it or we restring it. So when this process is over, we have a layer of thread that is coming here. Now, in order to weave, we have to have other threads go through.
That cross.
That cross.
So those are the only two directions in weaving.
That's correct. And the way the loom is built is that, like you said, I have treadles. The treadles are linked, I don't know if you can see it, by ropes that are tied to them. And those ropes link them to the top of the loom, to a piece here that is mobile. So when I depress one treadle, it will
Raise that.
It will raise
Whatever
one
you're pressing.
harness.
I
Yes.
understand.
Now the harnesses have kind of needles on them. They're called heddles. And each of those heddles has an eyelet in the center, an eye in the center. And so the threads go
Through those eyes.
Each thread has to go through one eye.
It must take an enormous amount of time to thread these through.
Yes, and again it's the same thing. The finer the thread, and this is very fine thread, this is sewing thread.
Oh my word.
The finer the thread, the longer the process. Across this one there is precisely 2,756 threads.
Oh my word. So each one of those had to be threaded through
Yes,
an eye.
yes, yes.
So setting up this loom, how long did that take?
Well, one thing that we do is the first time this one was set up was years ago. I did that myself, so it was over 20 years ago. But we have saved this.
Oh, I see. So you can save these.
Yes, we have saved this one. We've kept it threaded. So when we wanted to use it again, we only had to re-knot.
I understand. So you knot new threads onto the end of the ones that
Right.
are coming through there,
Right.
and you can save these for long periods of time and
Right.
never do it again.
So
This
it
is
saves us
very
a lot of trouble
very
because
smart.
yes, it's a lot of work. It's
It's
true.
a lot of work.
Because once it has been through this, then it has to go through this.
Yes, I see.
So when you thread, you actually thread through two pieces of
Layers.
equipment. Right.
So then you have to thread through the second part after you do that.
Yes, but when you only re-knot, you save the whole thing at once.
So once you've threaded it through both of these, then are you ready to start weaving?
You first have to catch up the threads that didn't make it through.
Oh dear.
The knots that broke off.
Right.
Yes.
So you're
the-
constantly re-knotting, I would think.
Well, I mean, I made a calculation that from the time I'm finished weaving a tablecloth to the time I'm ready to actually weave another one, there's about 30 hours of work.
That's a lot of work. So you're making a tablecloth here.
Yes,
And what-
I mean, that's what I did here.
What kind of thread are you using?
Cotton and linen.
Cotton and linen.
Yes, the thread that is on the loom, the warp here, is cotton, and what I've been using to go across the weft has been either cotton and linen mixed together or just pure linen. Yeah.
So then how do you get the threads to come across the other way?
See, I have a shuttle
Uh-huh.
with little wheels, and this goes into the beater. The beaters we have, there are many kinds of beaters, but the beater we have has what we call, this is a flying shuttle.
Flying
Does
shuttle
it
means
have-
it goes quickly?
It means that, yes, it goes quickly, and the other ones
Comparatively.
don't have wheels.
I
and
understand.
the other beaters don't have that box here. And that box, that sliding box, is very important. Underneath, you probably cannot see it, or maybe you can. It has a loop. It has a leather loop. And when the shuttle gets in there, it will catch it.
And
So that
stop
when
it.
it gets to the end, it won't fly off.
I
And
see.
it catches it, and then I pull on that handle, and it will send it flying through the other side.
I see. So it flies from side to side, guided by your hand in the center.
Right. See? So, of course, here I did it without depressing any treadles, so nothing happened.
So nothing happened.
But if I depress the treadles,
Well, why don't you show us then how it would work to
Okay.
actually weave something?
okay, so here I've depressed 2 treadles, so I have 2 layers of thread up and 2 down. Now, if I do this, the thread comes right through. In the beginning, you always have...
So you're starting a new color? Are you
No,
starting-
this I'm just doing for you to see.
Oh, okay, good.
Yes. So here the thread is here, okay? Now what I will do is I will depress the other 2 treadles and let these 2 up.
All right, so now you're
So
shifting.
now I have changed, and
Okay.
the thread is caught, as you can see, right here. Thread is caught. See, it was like this, now it is like that. And I can just beat it.
So
Now I can put another one through. In the beginning, you always have loose ends, so, but after that, it works well. And then again, I'll change and beat. That's how it works.
So the whole time your feet and hands are both working together, shifting each time to make your pattern come in.
Right, and you have to do that in a very precise sequence.
And do you use patterns that you've learned, or do you make your patterns up?
Well, there are 2 things in patterns. There is the typical patterns that you can do. Like here, I just showed you plain weave, 2 and 2, because I have 4 harnesses in this one.
No problem.
Actually, something here, there. If I want to to get another kind of weave than this, I will lift my harnesses in a different sequence.
Order, yes.
So like here, I lift 1. As you can see, if we do a close-up, I got a different look. But it was the same thread. It's just been worked differently.
Just how you lifted the harnesses
Yes.
determined your pattern.
So that is very interesting, because with one thread, you can get many shades.
Oh, it's beautiful.
So these patterns, many of them are, they have books of them.
They're traditional.
They're traditional. You can try many different things, And very often you'll discover wonderful surprises.
All on your own.
Yes. But after, when you have that, you can do your patterns, your sketches, your volumes and all that. And that we like to do our own.
I see. So you do many of your own patterns and putting things together?
Yes.
So they're original pieces?
They are original pieces. They are more like creations.
Right, artwork rather than just something you
right.
would buy at the store.
Right. A lot of weavers specialize in doing heirlooms, old pieces, and they
copying things.
Things. We're not really into that at all.
You make your own things.
Yes. Yes.
This is beautiful.
Thank you.
Would you show us? Would you have time to show us how you make the bobbins that you weave with?
Sure. The bobbin is what goes inside the shuttle. There are different kinds of bobbins too. The bobbins that you do for a flying shuttle have a different way of being done than the other ones. So I will show you.
Are they done
that.
by hand?
Oh yes. Yes, everything is done by hand. Yes. So we'll have to go over here
Okay.
to this contraption here. This is linen.
Well, now what threads do you use? I noticed that you have a basket of different kinds of threads over here. Why don't you weave us a bobbin and then you could tell us all the different thread that you use in your...
We will do that. So I put this, and this, you can tell this is definitely a homemade piece. It works very well. And so we do this. Here, put it through this so that it will not unwind too fast. The bobbin has to be very hard. In order to be very hard, the tension is extremely important.
How long did it take you to learn to make a bobbin correctly?
I don't know. Several weeks, that's for sure. Now, I have a piece of jean here somewhere that I cannot work without here, and you will understand why. If you know anything about fiber, you'll know that linen, which comes from flax, is extremely tough.
Right.
And
cut your finger.
Oh, not only it could, it will. So that's how we recycle our old jeans. Saving my fingers. So the way you have to make a bobbin is you have to form a cone to start with, and you have to keep on making the shape of a perfect cone, or at least as close as you can get.
What happens if you do this wrong?
If you do this wrong, I'll show you. If you have the thread go up here, maybe we can keep on the close-up. If the thread goes over the hump, when it will unwind, since it will unwind this way, it'll just pull the whole top off. And then it will come here, and in your shuttle, at the little opening there, it'll pile up and send the shuttle off its original angle and break your threads.
So it's very important then, the bobbin is the basis of...
Yes, the bobbin is the basis of a good work, and when you do a bobbin wrong, it's very unpleasant.
So how do you know how much thread to put on there, how thick to make it?
As practice. Yes, if you make it too thick, then same thing, it will rub on the sides of...
Stick in there.
I'll show you. It will rub here on the sides once you put it in, and it will not unwind properly when it comes out here. And so it will cause trouble in your weaving, yes. But you get the hang of it. So that's how this works. In the beginning, it looks very easy, but in the beginning it's odd.
Hard to learn?
Yes, because you have two different movements here, the right hand and the left hand.
Well, I notice you're making a perfect cone shape here. I don't think I could do this.
Yeah, with practice you sure could. There. And so you go all the way to the end, but
it's really beautiful.
And see, it has to be hard. You touch it.
Oh, it's completely hard. It's as though it's absolutely compactly woven on there.
That's why we use the piece of jean, otherwise...
Your fingers would be...
Oh, yeah, be gone. Jean is going, so you imagine what my
your fingers would do.
Yes. And the worst to do is burlap.
Oh, burlap, because it's so coarse.
Yes, burlap will just kill your fingers.
Well, maybe I was thinking you could come over here and show us some of the different fabrics that you use, the different thread that you use.
So here we put a little basket to show you. We use only natural fiber.
So most of these things can be washed then?
Yes, even though it's not because it's natural that it can be washed. Like this one, personally I love this one. It's linen and viscose. And it's a beautiful thread, but we always wash everything that we intend to be washable before we put a piece on the market. And so our customers know that
you can wash it or not.
Yes, absolutely.
And then it's already been washed successfully.
Right, and this one, when I washed it, it lost some of its shine.
Oh.
So we don't recommend to wash it, even though it is completely natural.
Even though it is washable,
yes.
You found out that it loses its shine.
Right, and same with the rayon.
So that's rayon.
Yes, that's rayon. We had a beautiful piece of rayon, and I tried a sample and washed it, and it lost some of its original beauty. So even though it is natural fiber, in this case, we don't recommend to wash it. But we put labels on everything we do that say how to take care of it.
How to take care of it. So what else is in this basket?
Well, here is some of the thread that I was weaving on.
That just looks like sewing machine thread.
It is sewing machine thread.
So that's how fine you actually are weaving.
Yes, yes. Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, this thread...
so you must have to use many threads per inch in order to weave
45.
something. That's a lot of threads per inch.
45, yes. But that's for the tablecloth.
When we do it's finest.
Yes, it's the finest we do. This is not the finest we intend to do.
What are you going to do?
When I have time, which might be in a long time, I would like to do, just for the fun, handkerchiefs.
Handkerchiefs?
I'd like to see.
Beautiful. It's a lost art, really.
It really is. I mean, I certainly don't expect that to make a lot, because they probably won't sell.
No, but just for yourself to see what
just for like. Yes, and I would like also to make some altar cloth, you know.
Yes, yes, yes.
And make really fine, very, very fine pieces. So this was cotton. This is linen.
Like you were putting on the bobbin, but a different color.
You're right, different color and different weight. It's a heavier one too. Yeah, this thread comes from Switzerland, and it's a very high quality. So most of your threads
come from, where do you get your threads?
I'm still in the process
of finding them.
This thread comes from Switzerland. Like I said, this one is a thicker one than the one I put in the bobbin. And that company is the only one which has 60 gorgeous shades.
Oh, so their colors are beautiful.
In the finest that I found, color fast. It can even be bleached.
Oh,
so we don't.
So that's very good for table linens, isn't it?
We don't recommend for people to bleach, their table linen regularly, because it does.
Right, but once in a while.
Yes, once in a while. Once you're stuck with a spot that won't go, it's definitely safe to do it. Here we have some of the cotton that was part of the warp.
Oh, that your mother was putting on the ponytail.
Together. Yes, and it will make beach towels.
Oh, beach towels! I love.
This is wool. We use all kinds of wool. This is mohair.
Oh, it's lovely. So that would be more for blankets?
Yeah, you could use it for shawls. You can use it for clothing too. Yes. This is silk. We've used silk too. This here is burlap and cotton. This is very good to use in home furnishings.
Yes. So for upholstery or?
Yes. But you can use anything anyways, especially when it's for curtains. If it is to cover chairs and things like that, you need to have something
heavier?
that will last, that will wear.
Yes, of course, tough.
You're right. Where something that is hanging in front of your window doesn't take much wear and tear. So. And this is something very dear to me. This is hand-spun flax. It's very difficult to find it in quantity nowadays.
Where did you find it?
Portugal, in the mountains of Portugal.
So it sounds to me as though your thread comes from everywhere. What is your most common source, or the range of your sources even?
Well, we have thread that comes from France, like these ones. I'm trying to find a replacement for this one because the shipping is definitely expensive. But I haven't been able to find anything of that quality. This is a very, very sturdy. Let me try to.
It looks to me like you're using the best qualities possible.
We're trying, yes. And so that's why we haven't been able, I mean, I'm not saying they don't exist around here, I just haven't found them yet. And so we use threads from France, from Canada, found a good source in Canada, Switzerland, Portugal, anywhere we find good quality thread, that's where we go.
So people are getting something very special here when they, not only the amount of weaving, but what you start with is out of the ordinary too, isn't it?
If you want a good product, you have to
start with the right thing.
Yes. So that's what we use. I see that Mom has finished.
Well, we should go back over and see what she does next.
Right. She has knotted everything so it doesn't come out as a mess, because that would be terrible. So now she's going to take it down.
So this whole ponytail of the warp that goes the length of the loom, she's going to take that down now.
Right.
Okay.
Vas-y. Now that is sometimes tough, so I don't know. Tu y arrives? Fais-le descendre comme ça, oui. Fais descendre le morceau, incline le morceau. Voilà. Tu veux que je t'aide ou pas? Non, non, mais si tu remontes là, regarde, je vais t'aider comme ça.
Comment tu fais? Ah, le descendre, ah non.
Voilà.
Ah, d'accord.
Here it comes.
Voilà, tu donnes-le-moi. Merci. Voilà.
So the first one has been taken down, and this is going to be a beach towel in cotton.
Actually, we're not only going to do beach towels here, we're also going to be doing some baby blankets on that.
Baby blankets would be lovely. So this is a cotton beach towel.
Yes.
Now what is the most difficult to weave? Fine thread or thicker thread?
The finer.
Finer, because there are more threads per inch?
There is more threads per inch.
And it breaks more easily?
It breaks more easily. If you do make a mistake, it will show much more. Also, you've seen each time the thread goes through, we have to depress and we have to beat.
Right.
If you have 4 threads per inch, you have 4 movements per inch. If you have 45, you have 45 movements.
That's a lot of movements.
So it's a lot more work.
So I see your mom is coiling this up. She tied it together to keep them separate?
Right.
Yes. This is fascinating.
And this will be a waffle weave.
Oh, a waffle weave towel.
Yes.
So then you'll weave it and it'll shrink up a little bit and make a waffle?
Yeah. The thing is that this cotton shrinks up quite a bit. So we will weave them and then wash them. When we take them off the loom, first we have to zigzag everything because it has no chemicals in it.
Yes.
Or starch or anything. So you have to zigzag everything.
All the edges.
And that is true when you sew clothing out of our fabric.
So it doesn't unravel.
So we will do that, then wash the piece, and after that hem it by hand. We hem everything by hand.
This is amazing. What an enormous amount of work. Now, what are these things up here that we're looking at? They look just like what was on the loom here. What is this that we see?
That's correct. These are the harnesses that we have saved. Like this one here is the one I'm going to use next. It is cotton. It doesn't have as many threads per inch, and I'm going to do blankets on it.
So this is a warp that you have saved to knot in.
Right.
I see. So this is what you were telling us about before.
Right.
Where you could save the threading that you had done.
Yes.
That's
Some
brilliant.
threadings are very complicated. And
I see quite a few things hanging here, so it looks like you have a number of patterns saved.
Right, and that's not enough.
Oh, really? So you'll be adding to that then?
Well, sometimes we have to undo one.
What's this over here? It looks just like one of those, but a lot older.
That is the original one.
Oh, from the old loom?
From the old.
In the shepherd's cottage.
Yes. And that's actually, I'm not intending to use this. You see the heddles here are made of, I think it's hemp. See, you have here, and you have the eyelet right there.
What do you
with the
think
thread going through.
What do you think this was set up to make? Do you have any idea?
I don't know. Let me see. Do we have a piece? Well, he was making this. It's a thick fabric. It was probably a clothing
Clothing item.
Yes, because it's too thick to be sheets. And here, if you want to have a look at this, this is the reed that goes in the beater. The ones we have nowadays are made of metal. This is cattail. This is little
cattail.
Yes, it's sliced cattail, and it's separated by a piece of rope around. They put a piece of
That
cattail.
is just amazing.
Rope goes around. Piece of cattail goes
That
around.
was an immense amount of work. So that's how they made.
Yes, and we have more of those, and I intend to do
use
kitchen
them?
towels once on
Now
those.
this would be
Yes.
fun.
Yes, I have to try that.
You have to try
yes,
it once.
I have to.
Well, now will you show us some more weaving?
Oh, certainly. Certainly, we have. Now, do you want to see weavings or the actual
Finished article?
Finished article, so you want to see the work being done?
Well, your mother was going to demonstrate
Right.
something on the 1952 loom.
Right.
And doesn't she have some sort of a towel on there now?
Yes.
Why
yes.
don't we watch her and let her,
play?
because you showed us how it worked, but it'd be fun to watch somebody just keep weaving.
Just keep weaving, yes.
So that you see the rhythm that is, it's almost like dancing.
It is. Now she, on this warp that she has here, she has been doing towels. She's been doing sets of the bath sheet, the hand towel, and the wash mitt. And now she's been doing baby items. She has done some cotton baby blankets, and she's doing some hooded baby towels. So that's what she's weaving. It's a waffle weave she's doing.
So she's doing a waffle weave.
She's doing a waffle
similar
weave.
thread as to what we watched her wind the warp with.
That's correct. Donc tu nous fais du nid d'abeille.
Je fais 4 cercles.
Non, fais-nous juste du nid d'abeille. Enfin, tu peux faire 4 sergés si tu veux. Hein.
Moi, je pensais commander comme ça.
Okay, so she's going to start with 4 herringbone throws, and then she'll do the waffle weave.
Okay. So those were the 4 herringbones. it
Right.
looks like.
Covering up.
So I'm watching her put some stripes in here in a turquoise. And I think you've been watching her feet. It's very intricate what her feet have to do. And if she misses anything, then she makes a mistake.
She has no more thread, she says, right? T'as encore du fil? No. Okay, no more thread on the bobbin. Has to go make
So
another
now a new
bobbin.
bobbin. What happens if someone makes a mistake? What do you have to do?
You have to undo it.
So you have to pull it out?
Yes.
And what happens if a thread breaks? Can you repair that?
Oh, yes. Yes. It depends what kind of thread it is. If it is a warp thread, you will knot it.
Okay.
If it is a weft thread, like when you get to the end of the bobbin,
Right.
you cross them in plain weave.
So where
Underneath,
she's going to start the new bobbin, she will cross them there.
she will cross the threads, yes.
Now what, right by your feet, I notice a big weight hanging off the end of the loom. What is that for?
That is to prevent the warp from unwinding and to keep the tension. Tension is extremely important to
Make it
ensure,
tight enough?
not only to make it tight enough, but to ensure the regularity of the weaving. And so those are the weights. This one is, I believe it's 20 kilos. Yeah.
That's very heavy.
Yeah. On this one we have 30 kilos, which is about 66 pounds, I think. On this one, that's what we use too. And this one, we have the 40 kilos.
So the 40 kilos is on the one we originally saw you weaving on that your father made.
Right. And which has the fine thread.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's the tablecloth.
That's right. That's what I'm going to use also, actually, for the blankets, and that's the one we also use
For the
to
bigger
do-
pieces.
Yeah, for the bigger pieces. We always do the bigger pieces.
Well,
in
maybe
that
you
one.
would show us at this point a little bit, hold up some of the different items that you actually make.
Sure, with pleasure. They're here. So here, actually, why don't we start with what Mom was working. Actually, this was done on this loom here.
Uh-huh.
But
So this was done on the old loom.
it was done on the old loom, and they are bibs.
Baby bibs. Really
Baby
sweet.
bibs. And same thing, I know a lot of people scream when they hear that. I said, bibs, they'll make them dirty.
Look at the pattern on this. The different patterns are amazing, because not only do you have stripes, but you have a different weave within the stripes.
Mm-hmm.
This was a lot of work.
This one was, yes. I like this one too, for you to see, because it is a different.
Now, what's the
Kind of
do these patterns have names? Some of them.
Yes and no, because if you look across from one side to the other in the bigger pattern, this one, you will notice here that you have a small width. You have 1, 2, here 3 have a small width. Then you have a bigger width in the bra.
So the same pattern gets wider.
Yes, the same pattern gets wider. Then you have a smaller one again. Then you have another one.
So
here
you
in the
can have
border.
all sorts of different varieties and patterns.
So this specific arrangement doesn't have a name. This is what we decided we wanted
Would
to
be
do.
pretty, yeah.
Yes, but a lot of the patterns have names. Yes, I just don't know them in English.
So I noticed besides these baby bibs, you also have these cute little sets of baby mitts and hooded towels.
Right. Yeah, we just started to do that whole line of baby
And
items.
that's in waffle weave, isn't it?
That's in waffle
Like
weave.
your mother was weaving?
And that's
Yeah.
that's the baby hooded towel with the wash mitt. It's a very
So the baby's head comes in here, and then it gets
Right.
wrapped up when he's all
wrapped
wet.
up, all warm. And we're doing this in the colors that I showed you, in those blues and
And here's a
pinks
little
and-
mitt that you wash him with.
right.
Put that on and
And wash
scrub
the
him.
baby with. We have also done this, which is baby blanket.
So that's like a receiving blanket?
Yeah, so it can go in a crib as well.
Uh-huh.
It can be the blanket that you take along, you know, wherever you go,
Uh-huh.
on the visit to grandma or anything.
Uh-huh. Now next to that I notice a very unusual and beautiful, looks to me like a blanket of some form.
Which one, this one?
Uh-huh, that one.
Yes, this is a personal blanket. This is your blanket to watch TV or
Well, the
put on
thing
your
that's
bed.
the most beautiful and unusual about that blanket is the weave. It looks to me like you used a wool or a mohair woven into something else.
There is two wools, two different kinds of wools, yes. Now this here is the set of towels that Mom made. I
But
told you
they're for
about
adults. They're
the
for-
bath sheet. Yeah, this is for adults.
So what you have there, you have a washcloth and a
Yes,
bath
we
sheet
got
and a
the
small
hand mat,
Uh-huh.
the bath sheet, and the hand towel.
hand towel.
So, and we have a number of pillows, of course, that
Uh-huh.
you can see along the way. This here is a shawl.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Thank you. Now we can zoom in some of the
The
patterns
patterns
too.
in that are really amazing.
Yeah, those patterns are fun to make.
How long does something like that take to make?
Oh, geez, I don't know, to tell you the truth. I don't remember. I had so much
Because it
fun. I
looks
didn't
so
look at the
complicated to me that it looks like it would take more than most things.
Well, if you don't change colors, it goes much faster.
Uh-huh. So changing colors and patterns is really something.
It takes time,
Uh-huh.
yes.
Uh-huh.
The one next to it, that yellow one,
Uh-huh. This one here?
right, was planned to be turned into a piece of clothing.
Oh. So you actually make clothing as well as household.
Oh, yes,
Uh-huh.
you can make pretty much everything.
Uh-huh. So what sort of thing would you make out of that?
This one I had planned to make a long jacket, but it can be made
Oh, it
into a
would be
jumper.
beautiful. Uh-huh.
It could be made into a long skirt.
Uh-huh.
Could be made into a lot of things.
Uh-huh. We're looking at the pillows now, I see.
Right.
They're beautiful. So then could you, for instance, do upholstery things for people?
Oh, yes, we could actually. The one that you just saw right here, that tablecloth in
On
the
the
gray on the end, is a fabric that can be very well used also for upholstery.
Uh-huh.
And so up here right now, we're looking at all tablecloth.
Look at this one. This one is truly amazing. There are so many subtle colors and different weaves in that. That is one of the prettiest things I think that you have made.
Thank you.
And I noticed napkins hanging on this last one here.
Right.
We
The
have
other ones don't
napkins
have the
here.
Yeah, the other ones don't have them because I haven't had time to make them. Actually, this blue one, the napkins on this loom, they're
Oh,
being done.
that's what we see being
That's what you
woven
see,
on that
yes.
old loom.
Yes, that's what
Oh,
I'm
they're
doing right now.
beautiful. Now,
Yes.
didn't you tell me at one point that you did placemats as well?
Yes, we did placemats. We have a variety of them right here.
Why don't you pull one out and
Sure.
we'll look at it? 'Cause-
There's also another tablecloth here.
Uh-huh.
This is another tablecloth. The placemats are here. This is a piece of it's silk woven over
oh,
wool.
it's beautiful.
So the placemats, we have done these, whoops, with the napkins. I don't know if the light would allow you to get into the pattern of this
Maybe
one.
what we
but
could
it's
do
got a
is
lot-
put it on the seat, show a napkin and a placemat on the seat here.
And the pattern is very different from the other ones.
And I notice you have some in different patterns as well.
Yes, all along the pattern is different. If you go down,
Very
you see
subtle.
There's changes of pattern all along the way.
It's beautiful. Here's some with some stripes.
Some with some stripes. These have a theme, and the theme is obviously blue. There is a blue and raspberry, blue and brown, blue and green here.
So you would have 4 placemats with blue as the theme and then different colors for each place setting.
Right, and it's different patterns each time. And this is the hand-spun linen.
Oh, it's beautiful. That special long skein of
Right,
thread
right.
that we saw.
And this
Oh, those are
is-
sweet too.
Those are earth-colored ones.
And someone has finished all those edges, haven't they?
Yes, Mom did that.
They're beautiful.
And same thing, made a theme of them, of earth colors.
So basically, you are doing a lot of household things. Do you do upholstery of any
Yes, we
kind?
do, we do.
So then you would do custom things for people if they ask for that?
That's the way I would like to do it most because it's enough. There is a piece over there behind the plant. It is actually a curtain that my mother made for our daughter when she was born, and the one right behind the plant. Not this. No, this is a Guatemalan loom that we're looking at, and this is more tapestry loom. We don't do that, but this one here.
Is a curtain?
It's a curtain. It was our daughter's curtain that my mother made when she was born. And this is just one style that can be done.
So it looks to me as though these pieces last for a very long time.
Oh, yes. Yes. But like I said, curtains and bedspreads and all that we like to do on consignment.
And clothing also you can do?
Yes, clothing we can do. And
So
we
if
will
some-
do.
So if someone had something that they'd like made, they could bring you the colors or where they would like to go and you could help them plan what to
Yes,
do.
yes.
Is there anything that you can't do?
Yes, there are things that we cannot do. There are actually quite a few things that we cannot do. These looms are jack looms. We cannot do what jacquard looms do. Those
I
are the
see.
ones that will allow you to have a picture. If you want an elephant sipping lemonade, I cannot do that.
Right.
Mom cannot either. It's the loom that can't.
And you also said that you had not learned tapestry.
No, we haven't learned tapestry.
Do you ever do rugs?
We have never done rugs till now. And I am not saying that we will not, but we
At
have-
this point, not.
At this point, the line of things we still want to make in the fine fabric range is still so far from completion that the rugs might come along
What other
later.
things are you planning to make?
What other things? I would like to weave cashmere,
Oh, that would be lovely.
make scarves.
That would be really beautiful.
So next thing I'm going to do blankets, and a lot of them are going to go into our own home. And so we want to do cotton blankets, wool blankets, and also personal blankets. That one you take to the fireplace.
Right, exactly, the throws.
Right, so we want to do that. After this, so we're going to do the beach towels. On that one, we're going to do more napkins.
On the old one.
On the old one, we would like to do some coat clothing, coat fabric. I would like to do also some winter jackets.
So coats and jackets is quite
Yes.
exciting. That's very different.
Yeah, that is very different.
It's really more like designing something for someone.
Mm-hmm. It's I mean, the variety doesn't stop. It's endless.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't seem to.
It's endless.
Now, you told me that you don't give workshops to teach because that stops your time that you have for weaving things, but that you would be willing. You've had some classes of school children that were on the small side come through, and then you show them what you're doing?
And that's correct, yes.
So if people were interested in coming with a group of children and
Yes.
seeing what you were doing here live, it'd be very interesting, wouldn't it? Don't you
Yes.
even let the children weave a little?
We haven't, because it seemed
to
easy.
weave, you know.
What
work
I
on-
have done is I have showed them how to do a bobbin.
Aha.
To weave, like I said, it
Too
looks
difficult.
easy, but you can so easily break threads.
Uh-huh.
And that I'm not bold enough to try that yet. But yes, we show them, we answer all their questions, and try to have them, you know, work part of a bobbin, do a cone.
By themselves?
Yes, by themselves, with some help.
With some help.
And we've had very, very good luck with children coming. They've been extremely well behaved. I must say that for those who already came. And it's been very much fun.
So this would be lots of fun. And it would be fun for anyone to come. This is Rainbow Weavers, and we are in the Broadway building in Fairfield. They're in the farthest northwest corner. There's a map at the south entrance if you'd like to see where they are. And you're open all day Wednesday, is that right?
10 to 4.
And then you're here quite often.
We are here quite often, and people are welcome to stop by, but they might not find us.
So they should
Sometimes,
call.
yeah, they should call. It's
So your
wiser.
phone number is 472-9465?
That's correct.
So you should call and come anytime that you're here,
Right.
and they could bring anything that they wanted to see if it could be custom made if
Oh
they were
yes,
interested.
we have matched wallpapers, carpets, the color furnishing, you know, plates
For the kitchen?
for the for the
Dining room?
table set, for the for the tablecloth, all kinds of things, because we do have a wide array of colors.
So this is really lots of fun, and I would think that anyone who would want to see something very different would like to come. Thank you so much, Marie-Helene.
Thank you.
And I'm sure people will be coming to visit you very soon and see what you have.
Thank you.
Thanks.